we have a panel discussion, Calibrating Excellence Approaches for Boosting Customer Services and Enterprises. We have our moderator, Mr. Chandra Surbhat, Vice President, Global Head, Digital Experience at Wipro Digital. Mr. Chandra is an accomplished leader that drives organizational digital businesses to grow through innovative strategies, client relationships, and transformative experiences. As the head of the Digital Experience Group, he employs strategic consulting and design thinking, fostering agility and experimentation. Chandra specializes in joint GTM efforts, M&A, and is a renowned speaker in industry forums, focusing on the future of experience in the metaverse and Web 3.0. We also have a group of panelists, Mr. Sahir Sekhon, Vice President Operations at Epicenter Technologies Pvt Ltd, Ms. Deepali Rathod, Chief Experience Officer from BlockStock Wealth Management, Ms. Rajasi Behere, Vice President of Analytics at eClerx, Mr. Nilesh Borgharkar, SVP Customer Support and Service from People Interactive, also known as Shadi.com, Mr. Prasad Bhujbal, Vice President from Altruist Technologies Pvt Ltd, Mr. Daksh Nagpal, Senior Director, Business Solutions from Sutherland Global Services, and Mr. Vikram Shetty, CEO, Abhinav Institute of Technology and Management. May I request you, ladies and gentlemen, to kindly make your way to the stage.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. So we have an exciting panel. You heard the names, and today we're going to talk about how do we drive customer experience, and most importantly, it's just not about customer service, but customer experience, and how do we look at it more as an overarching strategy and across the multiple channels, multiple technologies, and different opportunities that exist. So you heard quite a bit of speakers since morning talking about various opportunities in technology, the business problems, and how do we drive more of these to transform the customer experience. So while I go around asking questions, if I can take a minute to give a view around customer experience as a theme. Today, the entire industry is run on experience. Experience defines a company, and it could actually destroy a company as well. No longer products and services differentiate a company, it's an experience. And in our personal lives, we either stay to a company or drop a company by experience. Product and services are important, but they're considered hygiene, right? So if I think from the perspective of the organizations, the customer experience, anybody who is invested in customer experience, their top line is growing much faster, and they're also doing better on profitability. Studies overall says that any organization better focused on customer experience is a winner. And there are opportunities as the customers are more and more digital savvy, ability to do human-centered design, customer-centric design, ability to leverage data and AI to know them better and support them across channels. The channels are exploding. How do you make sure the customer, as the hop between different channels, provide a more frictionless service to them? How do you leverage the AI or the generative AI, which is the conversation today, much more than what we have seen in the recent past? And how do you actually support them in an immersive way in which they can engage with you, which is also an important part. The customer channels has now moved into more and more immersive AR, VR, metaverse. There's going to be more digital in physical environment. There's going to be with the wearables and everything that we walk around with. And the digital environment will become more and more physical. Metaverse, AR, VR is bridging this gap between physical and digital. So with all of this going on, and agent is at the center of it, and there's pressure of cost, there is an opportunity of revenue, and there is most fundamental part of customer experience transformation. So I'm going to start asking questions to the panel to give us a view around these areas. So I'm going to start with Sahir and go around the table for a common question. How can contact centers employ strategies and approaches, and specifically looking at not just customer service, but transforming the customer experience. What would be your top points?
Thanks, Chandra. Thank you to the sponsors and organizers for having me here. I think before I get into the question, I know we are just batch before lunchtime, so a lot of people must be, kind of waiting for this to end, so I'll keep it crisp. I think coming to the question, Chandra, that there is probably 3 key points that you want to kind of infuse, ensuring that, your end customer experience is superlative. And it starts with, your operational design, your operational strategy. So what are your key performance indicators? What sort of measurable metrics do you want to have are essential in kind of, making sure that plan is designed. Secondly, I think we've had a lot of talk about, technology, the advances it's making, and how infusion of that is supporting the entire contact center and end customer experience. So there are a lot of tools, a lot of applications. The way you use it wisely is something that, I would recommend. So one size doesn't fit all. There may be special, platforms that you can kind of integrate with your operational design to make sure that, it supports that, again, great end customer experience. And the third is, as I think, the panel before us spoke about, is the agent and, the agent experience. So making sure that, small wins are celebrated, successes are sort of rewarded, training and, up-training, especially as an agent goes through their life cycle, is regularly kind of given to them, is again sort of key. So I would probably pin it down to those 3 points.
Great. So better leverage of the tools, engaging the agents. Deepali, what would be your top points to drive customer experience?
Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is still awake and not dozed off with an overdose of technology, AI, ML, customer service. But at the helm of it, it's always get it right the first time, each time, and every time. We talk about repeated calls. We talk about call setting the contact center. Like the reason that actually happens is because either your first time resolution is incorrect or you actually not got the problem correct. And when you get the problem right, unless otherwise there's a behavior issue, nobody wants that customer to call back the contact center because you don't even know you're going to land up with the same associate, consultant for that matter, right? And we've moved away from the era of calling ourselves call centers, we're contact centers. And there is a reason you call it a contact center because you contact for a resolution. No customer calls you to say, hi, hello, how are you? They actually call in because they have a problem on hand that needs to be addressed. So getting it right the first time, each time, like you rightly mentioned, Surbhat, right? What today differentiates you is not the product. It's at the end of the day, the customer service that really stands out. And whether it's the service that's pre-sales, that's during the sale, after the sale, and maintenance from there on. At each point of time, what really matters is you keep your customer at the center of it, and your world revolves around the customer, your internal and external customers as well, right? Sometimes your internal stakeholders are kind of not given its due importance because you're so chasing after your external customer. At the end of the day, they pay you the revenue, but it's the internal workforce that's driving that revenue. So having an equal amount of focus on your internal as well as your external customers is what really is the key of it.
Great. Thanks, Deepali. And I agree. The customer experience sustains through employee experience. If the employees and agents are well equipped, they are the ones who carry forward the customer experience. And getting it right the first time is a great point. Nilesh, what would be your top points?
Thanks, Chandra. So, I personally feel that, when we are talking about technology, today, they say that data is oil, So, data is extremely important. And, sometimes I have seen that companies do collect data, but they don't use it. And sometimes, companies fail to chalk out customer journey because of that, at what point, which data to be collected, people miss out on. And the more and more data you collect and the more and more data you use, you get more insights in customer life cycle, and that helps you improve your customer service, because today obviously your technology engines are going to be driven by data. If there is no data, there won't be any technology. So yes, obviously apart from whatever they have said, that could be more of a duplication, that EX is equal to CX and getting it first. But this, I think, data management is extremely critical. That's what my take on.
Sure. That's a great point, Nilesh. Data, now if you think about a lot of service, customers are willing to give up their data for a better personalized service. And it can't be more frustrating for customers when they give their data, but they still don't see contextualized and personalized. At the same time, simultaneously, you have to balance the privacy. So equal amount of customers are also worried about privacy. So there's an organizational, a lot of responsibility to value the privacy and to make sure that it's transparency of data collection, and most importantly, deliver the purpose for which they collect the data, which is personalization and leverage is better. Great. Prasad, what would be your key points on customer experience?
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I feel that in the last 10-15 years, the journey of the customer has gone. Like 10 years ago, we used to talk something called as customer satisfaction. From that, the journey has moved to a customer experience. And today, I feel what customer expects is a unified customer experience. I think the unified word is very, very important to give a seamless experience to the customers. Long time back, 10 years ago, the call center industry was just about a toll-free number given, where a customer gives a call at the toll-free number and he gets the information. Today, the customers have evolved. Technology has evolved. Today, customers reach us through voice, through chat, through bot, through WhatsApp. Okay, but fortunately or unfortunately, in this race to be customer first, every organization wants to be customer first. Whether it be a Fortune 500 company or any small, medium enterprise as well. For them, they will always talk of customer first. Unfortunately, what has happened is that in this evolution, we have created a separate pillars in terms of a toll-free, a chat, a voice bot. You know, we have created separate pillars. There is no unified experience that we give to the customer. Just to quote an example, you have a problem, for example, with a credit card. Okay. You write a mail to them, you get an auto response, it will get acknowledged within 24 hours, you will get a resolution within 48 hours. You don't get a response. Next time, you are already an irritated customer. Next time you call their toll-free number, you again have to repeat the entire story. It's not a good experience that a company can afford. Today, I feel the survivability of any company is only the customer. Okay. Whoever, as rightly mentioned by Deepali, is, customer is at the center of every organization. Organizations who do not have customer at the center today or tomorrow are going to fail. Best example we have is of Nokia. At one point of time, a leading mobile manufacturer. But they just thought they have an awesome product, but they didn't build a ecosystem of a customer experience around it. And today they are in doldrums. BlackBerry, another example. So I feel that whatever we are doing for the customer, वो हिंदी में I always tell my team member, कुछ तो करना और कुछ भी करना. We are doing something. कुछ तो करना. We have made those compartmentation. Okay. So I think that when we are putting a strategy, especially with technology evolving every day, every second that we speak, the integration of that is extremely important. Many of us use the word multi-channel or omni-channel simultaneously, but there is a fundamental difference between that. Multi-channel is where, I give you an example. For example, I write a mail. I can call the call center. I can go through a WhatsApp. But a multi-channel, the systems will not talk to each other. That will not give a unified experience to the customer. I would just like to quote one example of unified experience. In my previous assignment, I was heading the customer satisfaction for Volvo trucks and buses. So we have something called as a command center, similar to like a NASA. There will be screens and real-time 24 hours monitoring. So we had a process called as a crash alert. So what that process is, the technology in the automobiles is way beyond. So there are these sensors, there are these triggers, alarms. So whenever a vehicle meets with an accident, there is a crash alert that gets created in the command center. So the person will call the owner. He will check with the owner, sir, hope you are well. Okay, is there any assistance I can give to you? Okay, do you require a towing? Do you require an ambulance? If he says an ambulance, we connect with the national ambulance number. We arrange an ambulance for him. And of course, customer doesn't pay anything for this. This is something that we do out of the way. We ask him, do you require any support? Is there any damage? Okay, in case if he says, yes, there is a minor damage, so please be rest assured. Through WhatsApp, because the vehicle is connected, so I have his exact location. From that location, I know my exact, which technician is nearest to him. Basis the damage, I can assess whether it's kind of a minor damage or a major damage. And we send a assistance to that customer at that location. So this is what I'm saying of a unified experience to customer. Just imagine if I meet with an accident, and this is the experience if an car manufacturer is giving me. Will I ever leave this organization? Maybe I charge more. I charge a premium price. But of course, I pay that customer has to feel that value, and the value will only come if we are able to give a unified experience to the customer. Unfortunately, including Fortune 500 companies with whom I am interacted, they say we have omni-channel. But when you assess it, they are multi-channel. They are not omni-channel. Omni-channels are that person sitting, you give him a call, you write him an email, everything will be done that by person. For example, today's scenario, you give a call to a call center, you say, I want a quotation. He say, okay, sir, our team will send you the quotation. That is not a unified experience. Unified experience is, I go, I tell, I want a quotation. Sure, sir. Immediately on the WhatsApp, I send him the quotation. Sir, would you like me to arrange a call with our technician? Can I know the location? Arrange a call with our sales advisor. Do that kind of a patching, and then follow up till the closure. So I think this part of unified experience is somewhere missing in most of the organizations. So I think if with technology coming in, and as I said, that evolving every day, surely organizations who are delivering a unified experience will only survive and succeed in today's competitive market. I think that's my view on it.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Prasad. I think the distinction between multi and unified is a great point. And customers choose their channels. They choose the journey. They can hop on to different journeys, different channels, start a journey in some channel, hop on to different channels. Organizations are expected to know them as they traverse across these channels and make it very frictionless. Daksh, what would be your point?
Sure. So I think a lot of people have covered a lot of points, and I think my points are not very different. Thanks everyone thanks the partners for having me here today. So I think what is important is that, as we mentioned about customer journey, we talked about keeping the customer in the center. We talked about human-centric design. We talked about personalization and all of that, right? What is important is to capture the moment of truth. So every interaction that you have in a customer journey, you have to critically assess that, very, very critically, and understand what is that the customer is expecting out of that interaction. Whether it's just a one-and-done transaction where he wants to just get rid of something that he wants to deposit and just get out of it, or whether it's actually something that is, touching him deep inside. So for example, in insurance industry, right? So you see a moment of truth would be a claim that has been filed by a customer and is waiting for an outcome, especially in the healthcare industry, right? So you see that, that kind of a, I would say, some kind of a very unusual kind of a feeling that the customer would undergo in terms of what would happen if my claim is denied or partially paid or not paid, right? So that is a time that you need to actually act upon very, very thoughtfully in designing and defining what exactly you want to communicate and how you want to communicate in the best possible way.
That's a key point. I think it's empathy and making sure you understand the intent, importance of it.
I just want to add to what my partner has said. One point I missed, and I think very relevant to add to him, is in terms of, organizations, very few organizations have a clear line of sight to the customer. We give customers what they want. Okay, we give customers what they want. We do not assess that, is this really what the customer requires? New technology comes in, AI comes in, we say, boss, we have a chatbot. Is it required for that set of customers? I'll give you an example again from a previous organization from Volvo. So being a premium product, of course, we don't want to disturb the customer. So the calling is the least is what we do. We have an app, we have WhatsApp, we have email, we have other channels, because we thought that if I'm giving a call to the customer, it is invading into his privacy. Premium people, big people in the industry, their time is important. So we created a strategy all around that. Of course, as I said, we didn't have a clear line of sight to the customer. We gave the customer what we wanted to give. And so Volvo, what happens globally, they do a satisfaction survey once every 2 years. So that happens across all 130 countries where Volvo operates. In that, one startling point which came up, that was customer rated us low on engagement. So when we deep dive, when we went back to customers, we tried to understand. They say that even if I buy, even if I do my vehicle servicing, okay, any other brand, I get a call from the call center for gauging my experience. You people don't call me. You people don't care for me. Now, our assumption was totally different. So while we should invest on new technology, we should invest on, ease of convenience, of course, we should do that. But we should assess the customer, what exactly my customer requires. So I think that is one very, very important point, that we go to Gemba, go to where the customer sits, understand from him what exactly he wants. Because my experience has been that most of the leaders, we give the customer what we feel is convenient to him, rather than, assessing from him what he really requires. So this was a very big eye-opener for me, a big shock for me. As I said, since I was leading the customer experience vertical, it came like a beamer to me, okay, a bouncer to me. And then, of course, we had to go back to the drawing board, redesign the strategy, see how frequently we connect. It shouldn't be irritated for him. But yes, I think in putting customer first, we need to know, is this really he requires? So I think that is one point which I thought will add value to it.
No, I think it's a good point. A lot of us talk about intelligent interactions or invisible interactions these days, where you proactively take certain actions on behalf of the customer, including reaching out. But it can't be more frustrating if you reach out at the wrong time for a wrong context, right? As long as it is the right context, right time, and the right channel, it makes sense. Yeah. Great. Vikram, your points?
Thanks, Chandra. So, I agree with whatever the panel has been sharing so far. Customer experience is the core of any business today. You go into a store looking for some service or product. There's always a store next door which is willing to offer you a better service or claiming to offer you a better service. So the customers have a choice. It's at the push of a button. So as an organization, when you strategize your customer experience, one of the key factors that I would like to bring in addition to what the panel has been sharing, is we need to have a strategy to have a workforce that is prepared to deliver the kind of customer experience that we are strategizing. And so talent acquisition with regards to how we want our customer experience to be is going to be one of the key factors when we are strategizing our long-term customer experience. Engaging the talent right from the beginning when we are onboarding them, skilling them, and engaging them, ensuring that they're providing the kind of services that we offer as an organization. The culture of the organization, sinks down into the talent. So the engagement of talent with regards to providing services is going to be one of the key factors, is what I feel. Because I feel that the market is today such that, no matter how many bots, how many AI and ML strategies we come up with, the delivery of our services is going to be by the workforce. And most organizations today are challenged by, the dearth of the correct talent, and which is something that we all talk about all the time. And so having a strategy that helps the organization to onboard the right talent at the right time, keep them engaged, retain them, and ensure that we have tenured employees, because the more the employees are tenured, the more they are skilled with our particular set of requirements. And so that is what I feel is going to be one of the key factors while strategizing our customer experiences.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Vikram, for bringing talent, which is a very important aspect of this. Making all of what we speak, what we spoke or the panel spoke real is the talent, and that's definitely a focus. Great. This is a lot of opening pointers from everybody, great examples. Now let's get to how do we translate all of different strategies, different areas. Specifically, Sahir, if you can share some examples, how does a contact center make this real? You know, this set of different strategies, technology, talent, multi-channel, omni-channel. We spoke quite a bit. Let's take a contact center who made it real with some examples.
Sure, I can actually relay a live example I went through just recently. So there is a Fortune 100 credit card company that would go on bombarding me with emails about, you know, their latest card. Was pretty not interested till one day I said, hey, you know, I'm trying to understand why they're not calling me, because they're going on giving me a number to call, but are only emailing me. And I reach their call center and the person says, hey, are you interested in this card? I said, I may be, but I'm just curious. Don't you guys do, you know, customer outreach for acquisition? And he was like, sir, you are on a do not dial list. I can't call you. So I was like, great, adherence to compliance, which is rare. The second portion was, I said, okay, let's go ahead and apply for this. What features and benefits do you have? Blah, blah, blah. He said, you know, do you have the time to kind of spend 10 minutes more? I can run you through it and complete your application. I said, actually, I'm just going to run into some meeting. So he sends me a link, says, just go ahead, click on this. It'll take you through the entire process of, you know, application. It was so simple, Chandra. I click on the link, fill up a form with some basic details that are missing. Most of it was auto-filled. It comes to the important KYC part. So they ask me, do I have a DigiLocker account, which I do. They tell me to kind of access it through the password, ask for, you know, the Aadhaar OTP, and voila, in kind of 2 minutes, my KYC is complete without, you know, talking to anyone. The next step, though, did involve a video KYC, because you need to now verify your PAN, which they need, you know, a screenshot for. So they go ahead and, you know, send me another link that, you know, whenever you're ready, please click this. And again, in less than maybe 10 seconds, I was connected to a video KYC phone agent who just, you know, again, verified some information, asked me to hold up the PAN, and took a screenshot and, you know, said, hey, your application is complete. In the next 3 days, the card was couriered to me. So I have never had such fantastic, you know, experience ever as an end customer. So this is definitely a process that, you know, stands out as a benchmark. Internally, again, going back to, you know, what we said in terms of having the agent in the middle of the experience, making sure his training development is given, because we are bombarding agents with, you know, different things. Hey, meet this KPI, use this tool. So they are also sort of sometimes, you know, overwhelmed. So to make sure that there are correct tools, coaching, and development plans, we use this application called Generate for one of our clients. So if a customer or if an agent has problems in, you know, synthesizing certain situations over the phone, it kind of gives you a full simulation that you can build with different scenarios, and you utilize that back and forth. The leader and you know, the agent can utilize that back and forth to make sure he's well versed with that process product. So I think these are a couple of examples that at least I wanted to relay that have led to superlative end customer experience.
Great, thanks, Sahir. Great example, and you landed at agent empowerment. Vikram talked a lot about talent. Now let's go to Nilesh. Nilesh, building on this, what do you think agent empowerment, agent engagement, or in general employee experience, employee engagement, their empowerment? We talk a lot about agent desktop, how unified desktop is very important. How do we ensure that they get the right insights, inputs? So what would be your thoughts on making employee engagement and agent a very powerful into the mix?
So, as many of us have emphasized that today, if we have to improve CX, then EX is also important. That is, employee experience is also important. And if we have to actually look at employee engagement, there are three parts to it. One is obviously actual engagement, wherein you are engaging with the people, you are giving them right training and incentivizing them. Second part is empowering them. Now empowerment is allowing them to take right decisions at right time, and third is obviously giving them right technology, to serve the customers. So I would like to give one or two examples from my organization here. So one is in our organization, every single employee, whether that person is working in customer facing teams or not, they are supposed to undergo a program once in a quarter. Now that program is called as Be the User, wherein even a person from tech department, HR or product, they actually work in these various teams. Either they work in sales, or they work in CRM, or they work in our personalized services department, and they actually take calls. They talk to customers just to understand what exactly happens. So that is one part, because from there they get a lot of insights, particularly product people. With regards to the example, I'll just give you one example wherein, we used to get a lot of, these queries wherein at the time of making payment, sometimes because of some error at payment gateway side, the amount used to get deducted twice. And then the customer used to come to us that the amount has got deducted twice, so you need to reverse one transaction. And then there was this entire process of logging the ticket, then sending it to finance, taking an approval there, and then again reversing that. And it used to take anywhere between 72 hours to sometimes even 6 days. So what we actually did is there we empowered our people. We decided that up to a particular limit, if the ticket is about duplication of order, then they were empowered to reverse that order then and there itself. And the TAT reduced from 72 hours to just few minutes, and obviously because of that even customer experience also improved. So that was one example where we did that. Another example was where we allowed our customers, because generally what happens is customers are allowed to either give their feedback basis point system, or if they have to put free text, then there is a limit for entering the free text, maybe 100 words or 200 words. So we removed that, and then we started using that experience with the help of course, technology, because you cannot go through such long feedbacks. So, and we started using that feedback in our training. And that training helped our helped our employees to improve their overall AST. Means that those are certain things which I think will go a long way when we are talking about employee empowerment and employee experience.
Thanks a lot, Daksh. And that's a great example of how empowerment, and especially when we think about frontline, your agents are the ones who are taking the calls. And if they are not empowered, if they have to run to the head office every single point in time, it's counterintuitive. It won't work. Sometimes we think empowering them financially is going to cost, but that's a huge transformation from a customer experience and eventually pays us through a better revenue. Great. I'm going to continue on the same topic, Deepali. If you can help agent effectiveness. Daksh talked about AHT, and as much as we talk about experience and revenue, we also come down when we think of contact center. How do you make it effective? How do you make it more and more productive, performance-oriented? What would be your thoughts on training, development around agent? We continue to stay on agent. What would you recommend so that their performance can be enhanced?
Sure. Thank you. Before I actually answer the question, I have a question to the audience. How many of you are on your phones? And the reason I ask that question, this speaks about the agent behavior as well. We as leaders do not have a listening ear or patience to listen to someone else because at times that information does not excite me, right? So today if you look around in your contact centers, your training and development programs, to a very large extent, I agree to what Prasad said, right? At times even the customers do not know what they really want. There are two types of customers, right? In fact, 4 types of customers, as they say in marketing. There's a customer who knows what he wants and is aware that, this is what he wants. That's a very easy customer to deal with because they know and they're aware. There's a customer who doesn't know what he wants, but thinks that he knows what he wants. That's a difficult customer. And this is, by the way, for your internal as well as external customers, right? How many of you have ever encountered your client coming back and telling you that your internal quality metrics do not talk to your customer experience? Raise your hands if you have ever encountered that. I have. Your internal quality speaks something else and your customer experience says something else. Because at times, even the product makers do not really assess it correctly that what does the customer really want. A very good example was that of Volvo, right? How many of you get calls from credit cards, bankers in India who throttle you with emails, calls, messages, stating that, oh, credit card le lo. We all get, right? That's the reason most of us today are all sitting on do not dial list. Why are we on do not dial list? Is because you've not really understood the need of that customer. So while we talk about developing programs or developing training, what you train people in the classroom versus what they actually experience on the floor, there is a vast difference in that. And that's the fundamental difference that your on-job trainings actually help you curtail or help you manage. But why that difference in the first place? Why don't you train them to actually be there on the floor from day one? Why is your training a textbook training? Question to all the leaders, right? We say that they need an on-job training. Your training programs or curriculums are developed for an ideal situation. Conditions applied situation, like every car manufacturer gives you under standard conditions, this is the average KMPL, right? Indians hame average se acha kuch nahi aata. Kitna degi? Right? What is the mileage that your car is going to give? But that's under standard conditions. In a real environment where you take the vehicle on the road, traffic conditions, your Google Maps, your pothole condition, the condition of the road, right? India today, SUV manufacturers are making big money. Why everybody is moving on to probably a Tata's or a Volvo or probably a Mahindra? Look at the state of the roads. You actually take out your vehicle for off-roading. You don't drive them anymore. But that said, why is it that we need to, looking at an on-job training? The training programs, I firmly believe that your training programs need to develop the agent to be accustomed to what to expect worse. Your every call is supposed to be a worse call because you're going to get a customer who's probably unhappy, agitated, not very satisfied because, as I said earlier as well, they don't call in to exchange greetings with you. They call in because they need a resolution. So one of the key important points is training your people right, developing your curriculum to actually train them to what to expect on the floor and not have a standard conditions only applied. Second most important thing is, we underestimate the power of empathy. In today's world of technology, in today's world of AI, ML, bots, chats, somehow we've lost that human touch. We talk about human interaction, we talk about workforce, but that is somewhere getting lost in transit. Your agent's power of using the right words in the right tone is what actually sets your customer experience apart, right? I can say the same thing. It's not about what you speak. It's also about how you speak that. Sometimes your empathy is very, very important. Most of the time it's important, right? Like Daksh mentioned, is that moment of truth, that anxiety in your customer's voice that what happens if my claim gets rejected? What happens if I don't get this? Addressing that emotion is at the core of driving that behavior, and which is something that soft skills I'm like, there was a time when contact centers really invested in voice and accent training, soft skills training. But today, because people can speak good English, you think that they have empathy as well. Those are two different skills. I can speak Queen's English, but if I'm not going to give the resolution in the right and appropriate emotional mindset, the customer is not going to be happy. Because they don't only call for resolution, they also call for emotional acknowledgement to you when they're calling you. That's very important to address. So developing your training programs centered around the product, but also centered around your agents, your associates, your consultants, to be able to be more attentive to not only the verbal, but also the non-verbal cues, the emotions that your customer is exhibiting on the call. At the end of the day, product is available everywhere, right? Your customer may be educated or not educated enough to use omni-channel products or multi-channel products. But how you handle them in that one shot that they give you when they call you or they contact you in any ways is what really makes you stand apart. And one other thing that I would like to add, Subra, is the importance of quality, right? A lot of us, and I come in with a contact center background for 20 years managing quality and customer experience. Quality used to be a policing function. Way back when contact center started, right? Quality wala floor pe aaya, so you're like, okay, so what's gone wrong? Kiski class lagi? That's the mindset people had. It's moved away from that to process excellence, business transformation. These are the new words that are coined. But at the end of the day, what are we all driving? We're all driving compliance. We are all driving adherence to that policy procedure that's been set either by your client, by your customer, by your company. So that's very important. While you stay within the realms, you can't do anything and everything that your customer is going to ask for. But saying a no with empathy, that's what we call servicing a no. That's something that I think in today's contact centers, that's the key focus when training programs need to be evolved. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Deepali.
Yeah,
And I think that was
just
nice.
to add to that, another addition, I absolutely agree with Deepali. See, today what we do is that we map everything based on KPIs. Everything is KPI driven. This is my repeat percentage, this is my answer level, this is my customer satisfaction. But do we map something called as a 360-degree customer lifecycle experience? We do not. Today, there might be a customer who's very happy in sales. After sales, he might not be happy. Yeah. He might not be happy with the part pricing. He might not be happy with so many things. But what we do is that we have compartmentalized the customer basis the functions that we have. Yeah. I have a call center, NPS score is so-and-so. Complaint resolution, my overall score is so-and-so. So what we have done is that, and what majority of the companies do is that they look customer as a number. Customer is not a number. Okay, it is the experience that the customer is getting. Your CSAT score, NPS score, your resolution achievement percentage, AL level, SL level, those are only, what I can say, the triggers, or those are only measures for you to understand how happy the customer is. If we are having in automotive example, we have a sales function, aftermarket function, we have a parts function, we have product function. Every function will calculate his CSAT score at his particular vertical. We do not the customer is not vertical wise. Customer is at a brand.
Single customer.
He's at a brand. So we do not calculate the satisfaction at a brand level. We calculate it vertical wise. In call center also, we calculate the satisfaction basis his inbound experience, basis I do an outbound call for a survey. We do not map the entire life cycle journey of the customer and see how happy my customer is. I think that is what I meant by a unified experience. That's a 360-degree, with so much of data coming in, with so much of technology coming in, so much of data going in so many different applications. I think that if we are able to look customer not as a number, but as an experience, surely it will give a lot of more insight than just looking at it as just a 90% or a 95%. Yeah. That's my view.
Great points. And I think it's about looking at the holistic customer experience, not individual vertical-centric, the way our businesses may be organized. So let's move to Daksh on automation, AI, technologies. I know we spent a lot of time on agent, empathy, soft skills, resolve the first time. But switching gears, we can do a lot with automation. We can do a lot with AI. There's a lot of buzz on Gen AI. How do we leverage these from customer experience, from agent support, these technologies? So how can we make the best use of them?
I think fundamentally, I look at it as a three-pronged approach. The approach starts with, first is defining very comprehensively how your customer journey is going to flow through. What your customer journey is, you have to define it very, very comprehensively and in detail, and across the call center, whether it's across industries, whether it's retail, insurance, banking, whatever be that case, you have to define that customer journey very, very thoughtfully. Once that journey is defined, what you do is then you go and take a very human-centric approach in defining each of the interaction points and seeing the leverageability of the AI and automation, whatever technologies you have, whether it's a conversational AI or a intelligent IVR or a chatbot or a video message or whatever that could be, right? That's when you decide that this is where I want to plug in this technology for this reason, because this is the impact that it will make in this particular point. That's the second part of it. The third part of it comes once you've done all of that, it comes, as he said, right? How do you go about doing the hyper-personalization? Every interaction should sound like not a personalized interaction, but there are some interactions which should sound like, yes, this is the moment of truth. This is where I want to actually target on, focus on to enhance my customer experience. So that is how you go about doing that fundamentally in terms of a three-pronged approach. So once you've defined that, I think, just to quote an example, right? You're filing for an insurance claim, right? Once you file for an insurance claim, you have a lot of process, there's a lot of back and forth that happens, you have to give the documentation, this and that. Once the outcome is to be communicated, that is the moment of truth. That is something that you need to be very be mindful of, that how you communicate that outcome. Obviously, a triggered message could definitely communicate the outcome in just one shot. But is that the right way? Or is that something, if it's partially allowed, partially denied, whatever that case may be for the claim, go to that customer, talk to them, tell them why it was denied, why it was partially paid, and so on. That will go a very, very long way with the customer.
Thanks, Daksh. That's a great, you have some points.
I just wanted to put a point here. I think, when we are talking about technology and AI, I think it is double-edged sword. And on one side, probably it can be used as improving the customer experience, but at the same time, it can go completely in tangential way. Means we have experienced it ourselves. We get these profiles on our site, and the old method was screening all the profiles manually. And then we slowly started moving towards screening the profiles with the help of automation. So the accuracy was somewhat 60-70%, and then we started increasing it. Now, that is where we decided that let us even put photographs in automation scanning. Now, on that day itself, suddenly we started getting a lot of calls from Orissa. And we just, went on the floor just to check what is happening, why from Orissa. And that is where we got to know that somebody had uploaded a profile with some Oriya heroine. And now obviously, we sitting here, means ours is a Mumbai-based company. We really do not know, the familiar faces or famous faces there. And we were getting calls that whether she is there on the site and whether we can send interest to her. Now, that is the kind of, means that we had to really then update our libraries by many folds, taking into consideration all the mother tongues and everything. Another example is on one side, means when we are talking about chatbots or when we are talking about voice bots, the kind of responses these voice bots or bots give to the customers. Sometimes that also can generate funny this thing.
Now, create more problems.
Yeah, it might create more problems. Now, somebody comes to me complaining about a profile, and if the chatbot says, "Wow, that's great," and then it's a problem. And another person who comes that, okay, my marriage got fixed through your website, and therefore I would like to delete my profile. And if the chatbot says, Oh, extremely sorry to know that. Now again, so that is where, you need to understand that how to train your bot efficiently is very, very important. Otherwise, this is going to backfire.
Yeah, and one more example I have, I'll just cut in there, is some of the social media online reputation tool managements, right? And this was a case for an airline where someone posted on their LinkedIn site that, hey, thank you for losing my baggage. And the bot comes back and says, you're absolutely welcome. So
great. I think good examples, and I agree. If you have a situation where somebody is calling you multiple times, the AI, the bots have to be discriminating enough that you don't put the bot again. You don't put the AI again for the same issue. The person is calling third, fourth time, going to the same mechanism of bots and AI won't work. We need to discriminate in terms of where to leverage these automation and where a human needs to be there and where an experienced human needs to be there, and leverage the empathy and first-time resolution. So eventually, Vikram, I'll switch to you. It will all come back to the agents. It will all come back to the workforce. And it will all come back to how do we acquire talent? How do we sustain talent? How do we build the talent? How do we make this more proactive so that we can leverage all the technologies? We can think of everything that we want to deliver. How do we start and how do we do much better from a workforce standpoint? What would be your thoughts?
Yeah, thanks to, for bringing the topic on the talent part, because I feel that, as I said earlier, that, having the talent that we require in the system is one of the key factors for us to be able to survive and sustain in the long term. And, few of the points that Deepali shared earlier was about the on-job training. And I believe that, that is something that is a key factor which I believe can make a very big impact on the talent that is there in the system. I would like to cite an example of, few of the things that we've done with few of our clients. So, at Abhinav Institute, we've been working with various organizations, helping them to engage with the right kind of talent that they're looking for to get them onboarded. Many of the organizations here, I believe, might already be doing some practices like this. There's something called as the government apprenticeship programs, which help organizations to tap into the talent from colleges and get them on an on-job training for a period of 1 year. So this is different from the traditional methods of training new talent, because when we talk about on-job training, we are talking about short-term trainings, whereas over here we are talking about a long-term training for about a year. And fresh out of college students getting into the workforce, get trained according to the culture and the requirements right from the beginning. And I think that get them young can be a mantra for engaging with the fresh talent, because once they are out of college and they're in the market, job market, then things sort of go haywire. And this is one of the experiences when a lot of talent acquisition teams might be facing, that when they engage with the people who are looking for jobs, they're in the market, they sort of have a lot of different perspectives. But if you get them right from the college time and they undergo a training for about a year within the system, getting to know the technology, getting to know the culture of the organization, that can really have a big impact in the long-term success of customer experience endeavor for organizations. So I believe that tapping into such programs, whether it be government, there are also programs which companies come up on their own. Like, a lot of tech giant companies have their own training programs when they go to colleges, conduct camps, conduct tests, get the talent into the system, and then they have their own training programs. So having such training programs, I believe, can be one of the key factors for companies to have right talent in the system and to get them trained as per your requirements.
Thanks a lot, Vikram. I know we have come to the end of the time. It's a great insights from the panel. We had a lot of wide-ranging topics, lots of great examples: talent, automation, empathy, bots, AI. We went all around and made it as interactive, as useful. I learned a lot from each one of the panels. Any questions? Anybody has anything you wanted to share? Anybody has a question to the panel?
We'll be taking questions during the networking opportunities outside.
So, great.
But thank you, esteemed panelists. It was really informative hearing and understanding and knowing even more about how things work. May I request Mr. Tarun Solanki to kindly join us on stage to facilitate our esteemed panelists.